This past year, Norwood lost a local legend. Retired Director of Fine Arts and founder of the NHS music program, Paul Alberta. Paul leaves behind a legacy that he built from the ground up, and his children were able to see it firsthand.
He got the best out of, he used to say all the time, mediocrity. I would take a mediocrity and make these kids. He pushed and pushed and pushed. And that was his biggest thing, was I pushed these kids today and it worked. And they listened, and now we're at this level instead of this level. And he just was so vested in it, and making sure everything was excellent. And it was all about giving the best performance and the kids the best experience. And that's what he always said.
After 39 years of teaching in Norwood, the number of students that learned and benefited from the maestro is countless. One student in particular, Kyle Leonard, NHS graduate of 2022, shared a special relationship with Alberta.
Kyle, Dad, they had a very special bond.
I wonder, a lot of it is sharing the experience of the anniversary.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly,
the pops.
The pops, right. and that anniversary, but they had a relationship prior to that, obviously, as teacher student, right. And they bonded, play the same instrument. Dad, obviously, he talked about him often when we would come over.
Kyle is me. He reminds me of me
myself
when I was his age. He has the drive. He's got the ambition. He is everything. I look at him and I see me, and I know he's got what it takes.
So I started studying saxophone with Mr. Alberta in 8th grade, and I took lessons with him all the way up until I graduated, and then I did a few lessons with him the summer after, because with the Boston Pops, I needed a little help learning a lot of music in a short amount of time. So I'd go over to his house, do some lessons. I think it was our love for music, and he could see the passion I had for it just as much as I could see how much he had for it.
Alberta was an avid clarinet and saxophone player, and one of his prized possessions was a 1936 saxophone.
He's had that. I mean, he's as much as we were little. I mean, he played, so not only with Dad teaching, and you would think he had no time to do anything else. Well, he played a lot of gigs and jobs with polka bands and stuff.
He's a recorder.
To get, and he recorded all the records and all that stuff. But that was his sax. That was, everything he did was with that. Mm-hmm. So he played that thing in his clarinet. That was it. That thing, and it was, knowing a little bit about instruments, that was a very nice instrument.
One of Alberta's wishes before he passed was that the saxophone be given to a person special to him.
Kyle would come to the house a lot to visit my parents when my dad was sick, and call all the time, and they had a very special bond. And I was at the house when Kyle came to visit, and Dad, after Kyle left, my father said, get in here. And I was like, okay, what's up? And he goes, my saxophone. He goes, I said, okay. He goes, you know which one? I'm like, yep. He goes, do not forget, that goes to Kyle when I pass. And I was like, okay. And he goes, I'm serious. Make that happen. And he goes, I want him to have it.
It was interesting. We did it at the reception after the funeral, and so we brought him kind of out of the mix of people, and we literally, because it was on display, and just grabbed it. And as soon as we came around the corner, the girls were talking to him and handed it to him, and when he broke down. I mean, it was.
It was an emotional
moment
for everyone,
would,
all of us.
It was wonderful to see.
So before that, at the wake, they had the saxophone and his clarinet up on a mantle. I'm gonna be really honest, the second I saw the saxophone, just the waterworks began. Because a few years ago, just especially for me, he took it out of wherever he had it for the last 15, 20 years and asked me to play it for him. So when I saw it at the wake, it brought back those memories And then at the funeral, at the reception after, they all sat me down, and then they told me that he would like me to have his horn.
What did that mean to you?
I don't even know how to describe it, because I knew we were really close, and I would go see him, you know, every break. I'd see him, honestly, as much as I could. So the fact that he meant as much to me as I meant, he meant a lot to me, and then that really, I knew I meant a lot to him, but it just, the feeling, I don't even know.
Kyle learned more than just music from his time with Alberta that he will carry with him throughout his life.
More than, basically just how to like function as a human. Besides the music, like, he helped me get to a point where I can now play professionally and do what I love for a living. But he also just taught me how to be a great person and just how to reach others.
We have a motto here in Norwood: once a Mustang, always a Mustang. And Alberta was the ultimate Mustang.
Everything.
Everything.
This is
It
life.
was-
It
it was
really
his
was in a
life.
lot of ways.
From day one.
Yeah.
From day one,
Yeah.
right up until he passed.
Yeah.
This is his place.
Yeah.
You know, I rewatched that interview
Yeah.
last night or the night before, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna take some notes because I knew we were meeting today." And I said, "I'm gonna jot down a few things," but I definitely feel like that last quote. You know, this is my place.
Yeah.
This has been my first job, was Norwood, and I stayed for 39 years. And Norwood is like home to me. Norwood has been everything to me. My whole professional life, I love Norwood. I love the people. This will always be my place.